Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Womansplain. Today we have a very special guest, the CEO and co-founder of Womansplain, Cristina. I'm going to pass it over to her to do a little intro, and then we're going to dive into her background.
Thank you guys for having me. I'm so excited to be here. So, yeah, I'm Cristina. I'm the COO and co founder of Inday. We are a fast casual restaurant group inspired by Indian flavors, and we serve really kind of bright and beautiful food. We have 9 locations in New York and some exciting plans coming up. So, can't wait to talk more about that today.
That's
And
amazing.
I'm really excited because I love Inday, as you know. I go to the one, near office for lunch like every week. So it's really exciting that you're here. So let's start with your background. Where did you grow up and what did you study in college?
Yeah, so I grew up in Bogota in Colombia, and my family was in politics. So since I was growing up, it was very much kind of a focus on giving back. And I always thought I would work in social impact, international development. And so I studied international relations in college and thought I would have a career maybe at the World Bank or IMF or a very different path than where it's led me.
Yeah. And then what was your first job after college?
So right after college, I joined the Bridgespan Group or Bridgespan,
Oh, yeah.
which was like a dream job. And it spun out of Bain.
Mhm.
So it was very much like the rigor and the tools and the training of Bain, but all our clients were in the social sector. And it was amazing. It was like the smartest people I've ever worked with. And we were working on, the biggest problems in the world. And the clients were incredible. And there would be like one of my projects was with a small nonprofit in West Africa, working on female genital mutilation. Or I was like on a multi-year project with the Gates Foundation. So it was really kind of the whole spectrum. Very little travel, which was nice, but still a
Surprising,
lot.
given-
Yeah,
Yeah.
but still a lot of the like traditional
Special.
consulting kind of
Mhm.
work style hours.
Yeah.
And yeah, I was there for about almost 5 years.
Wow. It's a long time.
Yeah, long time. And that was kind of, there was like a bit of a natural like inflection point, where I think some of the like client services side of the job started grinding me down, and just the like editing slide 46 of the backup deck at 2 a.m.
Yeah.
Which I can't even imagine how AI is going to transform consulting. Like
Yeah.
all of that side. And then it was getting to a point where like at that peak, kind of either you like doubled down and stayed in the consulting track, or you kind of pivoted out and like thought about what's next. And there for me, I wanted to do something a little bit more direct. And I think we'll talk about this in a sec, but kind of the like why MBA. And I felt like being in a program which still had like a strong social enterprise program, but could be like that great opportunity to explore that a little bit more.
That's amazing. So, what kind of sparked your passion for social development and impact? I know you mentioned like international relations and being interested in sort of the international diplomatic part of the world, but love to hear about that too.
Yeah. And I think growing up in Colombia it was almost inevitable. And just seeing the like daily realities and a lot of poverty and just like the injustice of the world. And my family had been in politics. My mom, she was amazing. She was like the equivalent of the Secretary of State.
Wow.
So we got to like travel a ton, and just she was like such an example. And they're like that whole idea of like to whom much is given, much is expected was like since we were really young, kind of feeling so fortunate to what we had and like wanting to give back.
Absolutely. No, I love that. That makes sense. Okay, so then you decide to get an MBA, and sort of and you kind of there's like a natural inflection point in your career. I'm assuming you want to grow and expand, do something outside of consulting. Talk to me about that experience. What did you go into the MBA with? Were you thinking you wanted to start a company? Were you kind of entrepreneurial curious? What were you thinking?
Yeah. So like big pivot there. So I knew I wanted kind of the like space to think about what's next. And when I was applying, I read this book called Earn It by Katie Malichuk.
Yeah, great book. Fantastic
No,
book.
yeah, amazing book. And her like whole thing was like, you can do the dance for the admissions man, or you can take the time to like really think about the big questions that you're asked in the application. Like, what do you want to do with your life? Like, where do you see yourself in 10 years? What's your passion? And like, these are big questions. And like, if you come out with a good answer, like, it's not just a great admissions essay, but you go in with so much clarity about like what you want to get out from this huge investment that you're about to make. And so one of the exercises in the book is like finding your passion, which was like, let go of all the little voices in your head and the expectations and the like ifs and shoulds, and just like really think about this. And like, what movies do you watch? What do you do with your free time? What books do you read? And like everything was related to food. And I like love to cook. I love to eat out. Was obsessed with Top Chef. Just like everything was food. And I'm like, like there's something here. But I had like never thought about a career in food. And that kind of led to like a bit of an aha moment where I'm like, maybe there's a way to combine this like social impact nonprofit side with food. And I had a very early idea of working on a social enterprise that worked with immigrant women
Very
and food.
cool. Okay.
So I'm like,
Like microloans type thing?
yeah, or like,
Okay.
yeah, I didn't really get to fully develop it, but it was something along like a center where we'd work with immigrant women, and it could be like a food delivery business, but then they'd also be supported with like legal services, language services, just creating a whole kind of wraparound support system. And I wanted to kind of flesh that out in school. And Columbia had an amazing social enterprise program. I'd like just gotten married, so I wanted to stay in New York. And after I graduated, I'm like, okay, I have the kind of nonprofit side, I have more of the strategy side, but I really want to learn more of the operations, the entrepreneurship side. And so I imagined kind of maybe joining a management team for like 2 or 3 years. So I like just started to reach out to like anyone that I knew in food. And Bashu, my co-founder, he'd gone to undergrad with me. And then he was at Bain when I was at Bridgespan. He then went to do private equity, and he'd like started Inday a year before. So we met on literally like Inday's 1-year anniversary. And he's like, I don't know what I need. I need like a mini me that will figure it out. So we just started to work together. And a few months in, he's like, I want you to join as co-founder. And 9 years later, here we are.
Oh my
So yeah, it's a bit of a like untraditional founder story. I didn't kind of conceptualize it from the start. But you know what? We've like reimagined and pivoted and like changed Inday so many times that I like feel like I was there since day one.
No, I mean, you are literally 9 years. You came in day one. A lot has changed. And you are a co-founder. So even though maybe not beginning, obviously the company wouldn't be where it was without you. So I think you should take every credit there is.
Thank you. I'll take it.
Would love to talk about that too. I mean, did you ever imagine you would be in kind of like a fast food Indian like inspired company? I mean, obviously I think with your Colombian roots there's some crossover, you know, similar kind of bright flavors. I think there's a lot of cultural sort of similarities from what I can tell, but how has that sort of evolved, and how do you feel like being a part of that?
Yeah, totally. No, and the first thing I'm very obviously not in.
No, it's fine. I mean, like, whatever. Like, I love all foods of all different types. It's okay. I'm the whitest person alive. So, and I have no culture. So, like, I'm not trying to judge you in any way, shape, or form.
No, totally. No, but when people are like, what do you do? I'm like, I work at an Indian fast casual restaurant. They're like, what? But no, there was a lot of similarities. And it was 2015. It was, you know, turmeric lattes were everywhere.
Totally.
Yoga was coming up. And in terms of kind of the lifestyle in some ways, where it was informed kind of by yoga and spices and like a really kind of balanced approach. I think a lot of that Ayurveda, it's like the world's oldest health system.
Really?
And at the core, it comes from the same roots as like yoga, meditation, and then there's Ayurveda. So like very simplistically, but like yoga was for your body, meditation for your mind, and then Ayurveda was everything else. And it's like food is medicine, and food like informs how you feel. And And you can get like very, very deep into it. But at its like core, like eating seasonally and healing spices and really focusing on your gut and like all of those really resonated with me. And then same, I think we all come from like very cultures in which food plays a very central role in family and kind of gatherings. And then the third is like 98% of our team is Hispanic.
Oh,
So
Really?
it's
That
like,
is so funny.
yeah, like at the end of the day, in most kind of kitchens in New York, it's like a deeply Hispanic
Oh.
workforce. And so there's an incredible
Mhm.
connection there with the
Yeah.
team. And when I can go in and like speak the same language and share the same culture and
Yeah.
have the same references, like that's made such a big difference. Also, kind of in my role with the team.
Yeah.
And I
No,
think
I'm
you guys
sure it's
like did,
amazing with
yeah.
that.
You guys have done so well with this customer service as well. I feel like every single time I go in, I feel like I'm walking into like someone's home and
Yeah.
they're so nice. They always give me like a local discount,
Yeah.
which is great. But something that I really love about Inday is like you really revolutionize like this Indian food category, which typically is, you know, thought of as very heavy and lots of flavors, as we mentioned. And you really changed that into this, you know, the dig of Indian food, or the Indian food of dig, and really made it accessible to a lot of, I think, American consumers. So was that always like the core mission when you joined 9 years ago, or has it kind of evolved over time?
Oh my gosh. Thank you for saying that.
Yeah.
I want to like print it. No, that's exactly what we're trying to do. And I think when we first started, it was a little bit more kind of like health oriented and like leaning much more into the Ayurvedic side. And then we realized like if health food is a niche and Indian food is a niche and Ayurveda is like an even smaller niche, like the healthy Indian Ayurveda, like we need to kind of make this more accessible. And Bashu like very much grew up, you know, he is first generation, but he grew up eating kind of like some more traditional recipes, but also a lot of like more
Fusion.
modern interpretations. Um, and there was a huge need of just like changing people's perception of Indian food as like really heavy or like Sunday dinner takeout and celebrating and showcasing how like bright and beautiful and flavorful and like light the food can be. So that's been a huge kind of part of it. I think at some points we've leaned into like, should we lean into like more Indian or more healthy? And I think where we want to come out is like delicious, flavorful, bright food that happens to be Indian. And I think in the same way with like Naya,
Yeah.
I don't think people are waking up and being like, oh, I want to have Lebanese food
Yeah,
today.
yeah,
They're
totally
like,
agree.
I want
Yeah.
fresh, delicious food that like
Mhm.
happens to be Lebanese. And that's kind of what we want for
For sure.
Inday and for Indian food. And there are not too many, but like there are more kind of fast casuals that are like very heavily like more traditional Indian food. And for us, it's more of just like our interpretation of it and a little bit more modern. And some recipes are like very authentic, very traditional. And then there's more just like classic, kind of lighter, brighter
Yeah.
Inday twists.
I mean, yeah, I think I love the Inday menu does show a lot of diversity. Like I've been there a lot and I feel like I can get anything from like a pretty light like salad snack to like a pretty heavy dinner.
Yeah.
Which I like. Like, do you know what I'm
Exactly.
saying? Which I feel like a lot of fast casual restaurants fail to achieve. Like I feel like the majority of fast casual places I don't feel like I could eat for dinner personally.
Yeah.
Like I'm like, I can't if I have a sweet cream for dinner, I'm gonna be so hungry. Or like even like kava or something, it feels like there's not a lot of options or diversity for like what I'm feeling. So I love that Inday does that, even though it is definitely a unique twist and feels like you guys.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And I feel like you're like definitely the pioneer of making ethnic food, you know, fast casual. Like right now, there's a ton of new fast casual Korean spots that are also pretty healthy, but pretty traditional. And then I feel like, as you said, like Kava, Naya, there's a lot of these fast casual spots that especially will work in a city like New York. And I know you guys started out here and maybe you guys have plans to expand. But I think this is like the perfect target demographic.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah. 100%. And we're seeing it with like, it's funny because 10 years ago, like it was a very different landscape and we were definitely kind of early into the scene. But like just last year, we were meeting with an investor and he was like, We invested in Chipotle when I started to see like salsa in supermarkets. And then we invested in Cava when like hummus was like in the frozen aisle. And now like I'm starting to see all these like Southeast Asian or Asian condiments and like no one's filling that gap. And we're like that's the hope for
Mhm.
Inday. So like yeah, exactly what you said is hopefully what we aspire to.
Yeah, and I know you guys opened, like, a physical restaurant, like a sit-down restaurant in Williamsburg, right? So how has that been in terms of that's, I guess, not very similar to, like, the fast casual model and the value prop, so has that been kind of different in terms of looking at, like, growth expansion strategy? Is that something that you wanna keep doing or just stick to the fast casual?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. No, and I think that's part of like a broader like the many lives of Inday. And so when we first opened, it was like a serve line concept, like Chipotle, like go down the line. And we realized that didn't really kind of showcase our food in the best way. So when we opened number two, we started doing what we have now, which is counter service and more of like composed bowls. You could still build your own, but you weren't kind of going down the line. Um, and that was more popular. We were busier than ever. We opened 3, 4, and then we are gearing up for like we raised a big fund. We were ready for expansion, and COVID hit, and it like literally our business went to zero day 2. And part of like figuring out like how do we survive in this new world? All of our restaurants were in like busy business districts, and like New York was a ghost town. There was like zero foot traffic. We opened a like ghost kitchen concept called Proper
Yeah.
Indian. Then we were like the idea for our full service restaurant. We're like, okay, what if we create a space where it's like when people are working from home, they have more of this community neighborhood restaurant, and then the days that they're in the city, they have our like fast casuals. And the idea had been to open like scale both and maybe have like 4 of the express or fast casual models for every one in day, but like scale both of them. Um, we learned that a full service restaurant is like a very different beast because we like open it and we're like, we got this. We're like restaurant operators. And then this was like, no, you know nothing. Um, so it's really fun. It's a beautiful space. I think we still imagine it as a place to like showcase the brand, and it's do R&D that we can take to the other locations, like host dinners there, like almost like our showroom in a way. Um, but yes, we'll not be will not be replicating the full service, and we're kind of like fully doubling down on the fast casuals as like the path to growth.
Yeah, no, it makes a lot of sense. I think especially as we enter some sort of uncertain economic times as well. Fast casual tends to do very well during a recession. Like famously, Starbucks performed
Exactly.
extremely well
Yeah.
during a recession. So I think that makes sense. But very impressive that you survived during the pandemic and were able to pivot and adapt. I think that's
Yeah.
incredible. As you do expand, how are you thinking about just the sort of accessibility of like Southeast Asian food throughout the US? Like, are you focusing on like coastal, more diverse cities, considering just sort of where it is? Are you open or kind of shift your target market around and maybe even change the recipes? Like, how are you feeling?
Totally. And I
Yeah.
think that's something that as we grow, we'll kind of learn. But there is some interesting, like Kava outside. New York is a little bit different just because of the volume, but in general, they do much better in kind of suburban markets versus
Really
like dense urban markets.
fascinating.
Or
Like in
they've been able to
malls?
like have a really good mall outside the city. So I think there's definitely opportunities there for Inday. I think we'll probably like the next phase of growth will probably focus on like urban markets. So I think something like Jersey City, where
Yeah.
there's also like um
Lots of
yeah,
People.
restaurant people,
exactly.
offices.
Yeah. And then there's some great like Boston is a great fast
Yeah.
casual
Boston, yeah.
market. DC is fantastic. Um, I think
Philly
we've
too, I'm
always
sure.
felt like, yeah, Inday has a little bit of that like California vibe. So
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
LA, I think would be an interesting opportunity. But yeah, I'm sure we're gonna have to change and evolve and probably do things like how can we cater to more like family meals or maybe like kids specials or, I'm sure we're going to have to like evolve a little bit, but I think the hope is that it's a model that will work outside of New York.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, the general model is so adaptable too,
Yeah,
and showing so many different. I mean, like Tacombe, for example, had a huge expansion, right, throughout the middle of the
exactly.
U.S. Did very, very well, shifting sort of just their target and what was on their menu based on the
Exactly.
region. So I think that's certainly, a great
Yeah.
option for you.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's awesome. So okay, so growth, expanding. You recently raised around, it sounds like. Is that sort of the next phase for Inday, just growing quickly and locations?
Yeah, I think so. So we had a big end of 2023. We had a really interesting opportunity to acquire Beatnik, which is
Oh,
formerly
cool.
known as By
Yeah.
Chloe.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we took 5 of their locations and then their entire corporate infrastructure.
I had no idea you did that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
So
used to eat
like,
by Chloe all the time.
yeah.
Yeah. Your
No,
place
By
it in
Chloe was
the
incredible.
yeah.
And then
Yeah. COVID killed it, right?
pretty much. And
Yeah,
then it
yeah, yeah.
reemerged as Beatnik, but
Yes.
Yeah,
has
yeah.
some challenges.
Yeah.
But like 2019, I used to eat it like
I used
I
to
think I
eat
used to, I think
yeah.
I ate it every day.
Chloe.
Totally.
It was super
Yeah.
hot then. It
That
was,
like taco salad.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the
Oh, that
taco
taco
salad.
salad.
It was
Oh
really
my
good.
gosh.
Yeah,
I
and the like
forgot
beet
about it.
ketchup.
And they had like,
No, it was
yeah,
really good.
yeah,
That
it
was
was
so
fire. It was fire.
good.
The
Yeah.
fries were really good.
Totally.
Yeah, yeah.
But so we like literally doubled our footprint
That's awesome.
overnight. And the first 6 months of 2024, we essentially like opened a new restaurant every 6 weeks. So it was
Wow.
the craziest time for us. Really fun, really exciting. They had a great team. We kept like 80% of their team.
Oh wow.
Incredible.
And so it was great. It almost felt like we were just catching up to the amount that COVID had set us back. And it was
Yeah.
just a way to like get to where we hope we
Wanted
would have
to
been
be.
naturally without COVID. Um, but it was a ton. I mean, just that amount of growth like takes a toll on the operation and the
Course.
people and everything. So we made a decision end of last year to just like this year focus, like we're calling it back to basics. And so really focusing on the operation, on the people, kind of building that strong foundation. And then going into next quarter, starting to sign new leases, probably raise another round, and then start to grow. Have 2026 be a big growth year again.
That's amazing. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
Do you have a separate integration team? Do you have like kind of like, I'm assuming this was trial by fire, but you have an
We're
integration
looking
team.
at
Okay.
wearing many hats, our
I feel like that is
COO.
obviously that's very complicated.
Yeah.
It's difficult. I don't know, acquiring obviously. I don't know. I guess you kind of acquired by Chloe, but what is your typical kind of strategy around acquiring new locations? Are you looking to build density, looking to expand,
Yeah. So this
etc.?
was like very much like
Yeah.
we weren't looking to acquire, and it
Totally.
was we have an investor in common that kind of presented this opportunity, and it was surprisingly on kind of the people side of it really smooth.
It's
They
awesome.
ran like a very tight operation. They had great in-store teams. We kept almost everyone. The like systems piece and just like creating a new entity and like all of that was like
Really
such a
complicated.
nightmare.
Like payments
Oh my
and
gosh,
like
yeah.
whatever.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like the bank accounts and like we have
Insurance.
different names and like do
Yeah.
we like it's still a little bit of a mess because like none of the names tie up.
Yeah.
Were there any
Using some
difficulties like
CRM.
integrating with like a vegan company?
We had a little bit, so we made a pretty intentional decision not to put it that forward. We got like a few um Instagram comments where like the vegan community was like, you espouse good karma, but like you kill animals.
Oh my
So there was like
gosh.
a little
Yeah.
bit of that.
Yeah.
But it wasn't too bad, honestly. And I think also Beatnik, like there was a little bit of bad blood because of everything that happened with Chloe. So we're just like, let's just not like lean into that too much. But it was fine. And then we do have customers. We like make sure, and the menu at Inday is like it's pretty easy to get like a great vegan bowl. And we've made decisions to like continue to have like one of our signature bowls always be vegan. So like we're able to kind of cater to it.
I mean, huge
Um,
vegetarian community.
yeah,
Like Southeast
totally.
Asian. So I mean, yeah.
Totally.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
And then what is your R&D process? I know you guys have like seasonal menu items and you have your signature menu items. Do you take into account like customer interviews at this point? Like I know you're 9 years in, so very mature, but how do you kind of integrate like the customer feedback and the community that you've built into
Yeah.
your R&D process?
Yeah, totally. So we've probably had, I don't know, 42 different menus over
Yeah.
9 years. Like I feel like there's some concept that just like open and it's like this is the model and then they're just replicating. Like that has not been Inday's path at all. This year the goal is we like just did a big, we're calling it more of like a menu optimization. And so really spent a lot of time kind of looking at our P mix, what we sold, what customers like actually come to us for. So for example, like last fall, we'd done a big campaign to like build your own salad. And we're like, okay, let's compete with like sweet green. And we realized that like that's not, play to your strengths. And like people don't come to us for salads. They come to us on the days that they like don't want a salad. And that's fine. But like play into your strengths, do fewer things, do them really well. We simplified and kind of really streamlined the menu while still offering kind of build your own so customers can still, customize their own bowl. And then just being like really our hope, we've said this 22 times, but is that we're like doing very few changes to that core menu and then just innovating with like
Specialty.
LTOs or specials. We have a really exciting one coming up this summer, which I can't share too much, but the idea is to like any LTO will have a brief and it like has to fit a certain criteria. So it has to be like Indian inspired, bright, beautiful, and then like in some way kind of value add to the existing menu. So not just something that like the same consumer will have a different option, but maybe make it like attractive to a new audience or a different price point or a different format, or we'll start playing with like handhelds or things like that. And so that's just starting to be more like disciplined with R&D versus at some point it was like, I had a really great X at this place. Like, let's recreate it for Inday. And that ended up being kind of a disaster. And so, yeah, driving kind of R&D that way.
Yeah, when you only have a few locations, you can do that, right? But then when you like get to 9 and you're integrating and operating and growing and trying to expand and grow your base business while also looking at acquiring new locations and then integrating those locations,
Totally.
like there's no way you can possibly also constantly change the
Totally.
menu, right? Yeah.
Exactly.
It's just not feasible
Yeah.
or effective.
Exactly.
What do you guys sort of think? I mean, obviously you have all these things, but in terms of how you sort of manage and build your team, what is sort of your like special sauce or focus that you have since you're in operations and you're like really in a people job
Yeah.
and, an in-person retail like store? How
Yeah.
do you kind of think like how do you kind of bring the in-day spirit to training and acquiring?
Yeah. No, 100%. And I think the people, I mean, we are we're a people business full stop. And like our people are everything. And we cook everything from scratch in the restaurants. Like it is really, it is. It's all about kind of our teams. So I think a few things in terms of kind of culture and our teams. One, it really starting with the leadership. So our two kind of multi-unit leaders or like above the store level have been with us for 7 years, started on the line and just like have grown with us. Every single one of our managers has been promoted from within. So we've never hired a manager from outside. And I think even for the teams to just like see that and that they have these paths. And for us, like honestly, a huge motivator for growth is that to be able to provide more opportunities for our teams to start to take kind of different leadership and development paths. We try, our kind of company motto is good karma served daily. And for us, it's that like transfer of good energy and everything that we do that starts with our teams. So we really do find ways to incorporate that kind of wellness and good karma into daily operations. So every shift, all our managers are trained in meditation and breathing exercises. Every shift starts with kind of a team meditation, a team some breath work, setting intention. So like those just like small rituals, small practices in the day. Um, and then third, just supporting that with like the best benefits that we can afford. So we offer company supported healthcare for everyone. We offer paid time off in addition to sick leave, which is like mandated
for everyone,
every
for
every
every single hourly
every
worker.
like
That's incredible.
dishwasher
Wow.
through general manager. Commuter benefits, free meals for every shift. So as much as we can kind of support our teams, happy teams provide great service and do their best. And they're, we like literally would not exist without them. So they're everything to us.
Yeah. That explains a lot, like why the service is so happy.
Yeah. And they're wonderful. They're like,
and how you never had to hire outside. That's incredible. That's honestly incredible.
Yeah.
Pretty unheard of, honestly. It's just so hard to hire the right people.
Totally.
They can be great people and the wrong fit. It's just a difficult process.
Totally.
Right?
Yeah. And I'm sure as we grow, it'll get harder. But like our manager, as you said, so like they are just, they're like the best. Like I love going to the restaurants because everyone there is just, they're the best.
Yeah, they really embody like the principles that you built this company with, and you can like see that even just from talking to them. A sentence.
Exactly.
So, yeah, that's awesome. I love that. And then I know that you had this consulting background, went to business school, very structured type of education. What kind of skills do you think you've learned from your previous corporate life that you use every day in your current role as COO?
Ooh. Honestly, I think there's a lot. The structured problem solving and kind of thinking approach of just like getting this massive problem, like how do we ensure food quality across 9 units and 160 employees, and like being able to just like take this thing and like break it down
a consulting
into
case.
Exactly, into like small chunks and a work plan with deliverables, but just like that structured thinking I use every day and is really helpful. I think the communication skills, so like also these like pretty complex numbers or ideas or whatever it is, and being able to kind of distill those down and talk to our serve line team members about it, or being able to, craft those communications for our board, just like that whole approach to communication. The grind. I think you're used to like working hard and figuring it out, and like very young in these industries, you're like tossed to do something that you've never done before, and there's no option to you just
reporting
figure it out.
Yeah, you can't say
extremely accomplished people who are twice your age, and
exactly. And then Boshu mostly focuses on the fundraising side, but obviously we've been able to work with really amazing investors and get great terms, and that background has been incredibly helpful.
Awesome. And what does your like day-to-day look like? I know it's probably different every day. But where do you spend most of your time and energy?
So different every day, which is the fun thing.
Yeah.
I try and spend a lot of time in the stores. I try and visit at least one store a day and just check in with the team. Should do it a little bit more, honestly. A lot of time with Basho on just like the numbers. We're setting kind of like KPIs, checking in with the team on how we're tracking. And then at the beginning, kind of I wore many, many hats. Right now, the role is more focused on like supporting the operations team, and then everything with like people, culture, HR. But so I can be, I don't know, like today I had a really minutia-oriented conversation around like someone's workers' compensation payment, and then we're like preparing kind of our strategic plan to build out Q3. So it'll be like really all over the board, but that's also kind of the fun and the magic in it.
Yeah, that's awesome. What do you guys use like what type of data analytics, like tracking? Do you see AI kind of ever playing a role into, I don't know, any sort of like automated like insurance filings or like anything sort of like, payment tracker or like, I don't know. Like, I'm assuming you're like using some sort of crazy data tracking for all of your consumers and, goals and
no,
to hit your
100%.
budget. I don't know.
Like restaurant tech is the bane of my existence. I think we have like 20 different software providers. Our tech stack is bananas. So much so my like husband's thinking of developing a like BI product because he like
Yeah.
hears me
Yeah, for
complain
sure. Because
about
it's
it
all
so
trying to like go
much.
into a
Yeah.
Power BI
Yeah.
dashboard or something. I mean, yeah, no, for sure.
Yeah. So it is crazy. I am very optimistic about AI. I think the more things that we can just like automate insights and spend less time crunching data and numbers and more time with our teams and with our customers and in the field,
Totally.
the better. And we're already seeing, like yesterday, we were talking to a partner who's building an LMS, like a learning management system, uh, to scale our training. And he's like, 2 years ago, like this would have been a 2-year project and $1 million investment. Right now, I'll have it in 2 months and like it's free for you. And I was just like,
Wow.
oh my God. Like
No,
I
it's
feel like
amazing.
the
Yeah,
opportunities in AI and for us,
totally.
one of my friends has the saying like un-LLMable. And our business, like ultimately the things that really matter, like the hospitality,
Yeah.
the working with the teams, the cooking our food, like will not be taken over by AI anytime soon, I
for
don't
sure.
think.
Yeah.
Maybe.
No. It might just
Yeah.
make people better at their jobs.
Totally.
And
Make
also
people more
happier,
efficient.
happier,
Yeah.
less
Totally.
error too. I mean, just the
Yeah.
amount of human error that goes into stuff like that. Like no
100%.
matter what, right? Or even just like manually calculating bonuses and payroll.
Totally.
Yeah.
No,
Or,
I'm
it's like wild. The
very
amount.
excited to see like
Yeah.
I think it's the next 2 years is going to be crazy.
Yeah. No, absolutely. I'm really excited for it too. Actually, yeah. And I think it'll be great. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
And I feel like restaurant tech, it's like so niche. Maybe it's because out of my world, but I feel like that really hasn't been tapped
Yeah.
with like new technology. So there's a lot of like
There's too much. It's like
potential.
There's too
too
much.
fragmented. And like we
Yeah.
are drowning in data. We have like
Mm-hmm.
massive customer insights database, like this huge software for like our inventory and
Yeah.
analytics. Like there's so much data, but we're lacking like insights, just like the time
Yeah.
to like put it all together and like think about what it means and like synthesize that into actionable insights for the teams. Like that's what's so hard and so time consuming.
And for
And
someone
like
that's not like, did 5 years in consulting.
totally,
Would just
totally.
like a clear picture of
Yeah.
like, what does this
100%.
mean?
Yeah.
Like literally, and
100%.
a
Like, what do I do
table,
with
yeah,
this?
like a lot of times it takes 5 steps to just be like, okay, your sales suck. Like, do you know what I'm saying? This is what that
Yeah,
means.
yeah,
Do you know what
yeah,
I'm
yeah,
saying? Your sales are going
100%.
down. That's what that means,
Yeah.
right? Like, I wish someone could have told me that in a sentence. And instead, we spent 7 hours to get there, right? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, yeah.
No, exactly.
But it's like it's
exactly.
wild, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, it's like kind of a crazy thing. I think it's gonna be awesome. And I think the great thing about these tools is like they amplify incredible entrepreneurs like you. You know what I'm saying? So they're just allow you to obviously you're training incredible teams and it's a really special thing. So
Yeah. Thank
allow you guys to
Yeah.
grow more.
What has been your favorite part of being a co-founder?
Oof. I don't think it relates directly to being a co-founder, but I love like new restaurant openings and just that whole like the energy behind it and the like onboarding a new team and there's so much like nervous excitement and expectation and like just introducing everyone to Inday and like you really get to know the team. I love that side of it. Yeah, I think just looking back at how much we've grown and I think sometimes you like get lost in the numbers and the details and like someone was like things are never as bad and they're never as good as you think they are. Um but yeah, no, I think like just having set and like touching the entire business. Like it's everything from like operations, marketing, HR, board growth, like the whole it feels like so exciting to like have that like visibility into the entire business, which is something that I think also drew me to consulting, where like you weren't going into such a like specialized role. And I think at some point as we grow, and we already are in some ways, like hiring for more specialized positions, but having that just like fully cross-functional view has been really fun.
Yeah. And do you think if you hadn't found your co-founder in Inday, you would have still worked in food like as a chef, or you think you would have made your own, company or brand? What do you think?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
I think I have, like, it's terrifying. And it is, I think with being, and Bashu has like so much more of the like weight of the business on him with like, it's his story and it's his, like, it's my baby too, but like, it's like really his baby. Um, and I think at some point, like, it's the burnout that you feel, which is not about hours worked, because I've worked like many more hours in consulting, but it's that like the existential fear of like, are we gonna make it?
Yeah.
Like all these people, you know,
Relying
for
on
like
us.
responsible for their livelihood, and
Yeah.
that just like the weight of
Yeah.
that is really heavy. And I think if I didn't have a co-founder, I don't know that I'd like have it in me to like take that step without having someone like Bashu there.
Mhm. Yeah, that makes sense. I feel like that's a theme that we've heard with a lot of founders that we've interviewed. It's like it's such a lonely process
Yeah,
and it's so daunting. And you don't know if what you're doing is right, and no one's going to tell you if it's wrong, or they'll probably tell you if
totally.
it's wrong, but they won't tell you if it's right. So it's really, really hard to kind of go down that path by yourself. But it is nice to have a co-founder that you can
Exactly.
lean
Yeah.
on,
And I was like, I'm
complain
glad you took
with.
this step.
Yeah,
And now I'm just like
yeah,
here to support you and help you build it. But like that first, yeah, no, 100%.
yeah. Well, this has been so great.
Yeah, isn't it awesome? I'm so excited to see where Inday goes. It's been an awesome episode.
Yeah, I guess before we wrap, we would love to hear if you have any advice for anyone listening that want to start their own restaurant chain, company, anything food related, or switch industries from a consulting-esque type of role to something more entrepreneurial like you did. What would be the one piece of advice that you would give?
Yeah, totally. So I'll give two pieces of advice. I think for someone starting it, like really, like truly know your why. And it's like, it's so freaking hard. And there's times where like, if you don't have that really strong why driving you, it's too easy to give up because it's like, it's so much. And you're going to hear a million different pieces of advice and opinions. And there's always going to be like a shiny new thing or another path. And you have to stay true to yourself and have that North Star. That's like really a strong driving force behind like why you're doing what you're doing. Um, I'd say find a co-founder or a partner. And like in my case, it doesn't have to be someone that you're like starting with from day one. But I can't imagine going through this without someone like Bashu and just like someone to like share your vulnerabilities and celebrate the wins and go through the rough spots and brainstorm. And I think having that like partner is so, so important. Um, and then I think for someone who's maybe looking for more of that pivot, the idea of like prototype in real life and maybe start with like the consulting project, the internship, the helping out on weekend nights, regardless of how like rigorous the interview process is, you're never going to get a sense for it until you're like in it. And I think having that like experience in an industry or in an organization or anything, it makes such a difference. So like, don't be afraid to start there.
It's amazing. Awesome. Thank you so much, Christina. This has been an awesome episode.
Oh, thank you guys. This was so fun. I loved it.
And I'll definitely be stopping by in Inday soon.
Yes, I know you have multiple
everyone
locations.
Need Inday, in New York, 9
Yeah.
locations across Manhattan and Brooklyn.
Yeah.
Also follow their socials as well as they expand. As always, thank you everyone for listening. And please email us, womansplainpod1@gmail.com and womansplainpod on all our socials as well. Thank you.
Thanks for listening.
Thank you.
Thank you.